my newest fan, and I'm his fan too, Caleb Calhoun, all for Tennessee. Let's see here. Where did it's a basketball tournament held in Charleston, South Carolina. Virginia Tech won it last year. And let's see here. This year it will feature UConn, Florida, Miami, Missouri State, Penn State, St. Joseph's, Townsend, and Xavier. And then, according to Jeff Goodman of Stadium, Tennessee will be among the teams featured at the event, along with, to tell you the truth, the last the group of basketball teams, but here we go. Houston, Florida State, Seton Hall, Virginia Commonwealth, Oklahoma State, Penn State, and Charles Tennessee Volunteers. So, I don't know. Any thoughts here? I mean, I don't know. This sounds like a fun tournament to begin 2020. I know we're talking about a year away, and who even will the players be in this game? But I think this is big news, or is it just,
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, I mean, it's one of those where I guess it's an exciting tournament for Tennessee, one of those early tournaments. But, I mean, we talk about, I know Houston was great this past year, but you're right, with the landscape of college basketball, unless you're playing, Duke a year and a half out in college basketball.
Yeah, so.
And, that's really, really, really hard to figure out. So I will say that, funny enough, I think that could start changing in football, which I wrote today. I did a post on how Tennessee I named 5 players who are freshmen and sophomores and who may be able to sign with the XFL next year. And given their new TV deal, watch out and the impact that might have on how much college football changes on a year-to-year basis in the future.
I'm glad you put that out. Now, and yes, I see your story. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But yes, the name of the story is 5 freshmen and sophomore Vols who could join the XFL. Now, admittedly, my first reaction is, boy, that is small potatoes. What about freshmen and sophomores who could play in the NFL? But now, I'm of the XFL's ability to make it, even with their superior TV contracts, to the AAF, because I think that it is inherently a flawed structure in which the league will own the AAF. I have worked in professional sports for teams that were owned by the league. In other words, a league where the teams were all owned by one man. It does not work. It has never worked. But, okay, tell me after I say that why you think XFL 2 might actually be able to survive or be a viable football league.
Well, I agree with you that could be one flaw, and I'll have to see how that works out. I'll admit I don't have as much experience dealing with professional leagues owned by one person or one entity, but I think that the XFL, what a lot of people didn't realize is that the AAF, yes, it folded, but it did prove that there was a market for interest in them. And I think that the XFL did get the bigger TV deal. I'm not as gung-ho on how brilliant of a business person Vince McMahon is as everybody else is. I do think, just because, and I mean, I say this about Howard Schultz, I say this about a lot of rich businessmen. Just because you had one idea at one point that made you rich doesn't mean that everything you touch is going to be successful. But I will say that I think that Vince McMahon is much more careful about what he's trying to put together this time around than he was last time, and also more careful about the AAF. And yes, he did ink the big, even if I'm skeptical about Vince McMahon himself, I do give a little credit to, the ABC, ESPN, and Fox are really wanting to dive in on this. They must have some inside info, too, about how successful it could be that we don't. And so that's where I'm, particularly ESPN, season, and ESPN is totally vested in the NBA with the contracts they've given out with that. And so that they must also know something because they're really diving in on something that could really be competition for the NBA.
Well, I think that when the Monday Night Football contract expires in 2021, that I can't see ESPN coming back to it. I don't know if the NFL wants them in, and if they did, it's only because they feel they, it's $1.9 billion that they're paying now for basically one football game a week. And I just think that they would probably rather save the money, bring back playmakers, and cover NFL football as the sport that will destroy your brain or whatever, the way ESPN kind of is known for covering things, than it would be to, okay, we'll take it off the air. I'm speaking of playmakers. Or, yes, we'll cover the NFL. Because we both know that has kind of been the case. over the years. And so I look at even the way very shortly, and the NFL is covered. I think that there will be legitimately in sports circles coverage of the NFL, much the same line that you mentioned politics are covered by, let's say, Fox and CNN. I mean, I actually believe we could see that in the next decade if ESPN is not involved in broadcasting the games. There you go. So, anyhow, by the way, the 5 players that you think could be in the XFL are Trevon Flowers, Alontae Taylor, the aforementioned Wanya Morris, who don't discount his chances at playing right guard, Bryce Thompson, and also Darnell Wright. Okay, XFL and not the NFL for these guys. Hey, I mean, if Wanya Morris can come right in and start at right tackle, why wouldn't he be an NFL guy? I kind of think that if why would you only have him in the XFL?
Well, because the XFL can sign these players. There's no age restriction. So, I mean, the XFL could pluck these players, and then they could go to the NFL. So that's why I'm bringing this up, is that this is where I say the college football landscape could dramatically change. If the XFL makes it, like does kind of survive as a league, you could potentially see instances where players, I mean, could you imagine a scenario where a player plays the college football playoffs and then a month later is playing in the XFL and, you know, they'll break out like a Trevor Lawrence, who we all know a man amongst boys in college football. I mean, he could play at Clemson, win the national championship, and then the next month go play in the XFL.
It's intriguing. I will say I'm not 100% sure that Trevor Lawrence could play in the NFL. I'd draft him if I was in the NFL, but I still think you've got body development. I look at what happened with Maurice Clarett, and admittedly he waited a few years before he went in. But there was a football writer named Bob Labriola who once said, you know something, it might be barbaric to consider a 19-year-old playing in the NFL. And that was a strong word, but then it made me scratch my chin, and I said, yeah, kinda. Now, I guess Juju Smith-Schuster of the Steelers was 20 when he was playing, so, I mean, I'll give you that. But, yeah, I do wonder, I mean, if 19 and 18 isn't too young to play in the NFL. You know, that sort of thing. So I'm not sure I agree with you on Lawrence could play in the NFL right now. XFL? And I'm sorry, I don't follow G League much, so don't ask me what the nickname of the team in Austin is, but they drew about 4,000 fans, and the Texas Longhorns drew at least to their games 3 times that. But then again, look, 4,000 fans, I mean, that's what most college basketball games get if they're well attended when you can and consider it. I mean, you know, that's basically, you know, ETSU averaged 5,000. For early in the year. So, I mean, is that such a bad crowd? And it'll only increase if the big players go there and such. And so, and you know, it'll be, most of these G League teams are in the shadow of where the NBA team plays in. So, yeah, I mean, you tell me, you know, what'll happen.
One of the things that I think one of the reasons baseball is dominating the local markets now, which everyone thinks baseball's struggling, but it's actually doing very well in the local markets. And I can say from personal experience, one of the reasons is, as an Orioles fan, as bad as I know the Orioles are going to be this year, I can go see Orioles prospects with the Frederick Keys. I can go see them with Delmarva. They're single-A and double-A teams, all within a 2-hour radius of the Orioles themselves.
They still have the team in Bowie?
That's a brilliant move by baseball.
Yeah, they still have the team in Bowie?
Philly?
No, Bowie, Maryland.
Oh, yes, they do. They still have the Bowie base up.
Okay, yeah, I thought they did, yeah.
Then they have Norfolk, too, which is the furthest one away, but that's AAA. And I think a lot of times when you're looking at young talent, you go single-A and double-A anyway.
Sure, I get that and all this. We're talking to Caleb Calhoun. We were talking a little bit about this. It reminds me of the Tennessee-Virginia Tech rivalry back 20 years ago when they were arguably the top 2 college football programs in the country. The Florida State fans will have something to say about that, certainly. But, okay, 2 of the best 3. And here in the Tri-Cities, the Hokies and Vols were, I mean, just tremendous recruiting battles for football players. Both Jason and Sean Witten, Jake Householder out of Gate City, and be they Virginia Tech or Tennessee. Okay, Jalen Cone, point guard, he's not from the Tri-Cities. He's from North Carolina. I'll give you that. But I still kind of am intrigued by a guy who might be going to Tennessee or he might be going to Virginia Tech. I know originally you're from Memphis, Caleb Calhoun, but I don't know. What do you think about this? Jalen Cone and you know, his recruiting process, who he's got out there, even a Texas A&M with Buzz Williams back in the mix and such. Do you have any thoughts on the recruitment of Jalen Cohn?
Well, the interesting thing, I mean, I'm wondering, Barnes still doesn't know how many scholarships he's going to have another 3-star from Cumberland, Maryland today.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he may be conceding that those guys are probably going to end up leaving. But Jalen Cohn, I mean, you had Jalen Cohn, and then last week you talked about Tennessee targeting Terry Blackshear. And I've said this. I mean, I've been insisting that I've been on this for 4 to 5 years, and I said my dream scenario for the Vols would be if Virginia Tech somehow joined the SEC one year finally, and Tennessee and Virginia Tech became an arch rivalry every year. I think it's just one of the most naturally met rivalries to happen in sports.
Well, I'll tell you what, that might go over well around here. The one entity that would hate it is ETSU, who gets put on page 2 a lot of times because of Tech and Tennessee. And how would they ever compete except maybe on the Johnson City Press or something if that was the case? Think about that. So, I mean, there are positives and negatives. It would be great for the Tri-Cities. It would be horrible for the Tri-Cities, that sort of thing. I will agree with you. Terry Blackshear is a key component. I think that the Vols do need to pick him up if they wish to contend next year. By the way, who is the player out of Cumberland, Maryland?
I can't. I already forgot his name now. He's a Finnish-born player.
Then